Map of all the countries where the euro is the official currency. In blue, we have the countries who are allowed to use the euro, and in pink, the countries that are not allowed to use the euro, but do anyways, because they just don't care. Good old Kosovo and Montenegro. I wonder if there's any more flying under the radar. You forgot countries that are allowed to use the euro, but don't want to. Sweet. That was actually the first place I ever went to outside of the US, so I was forced to learn about the Corona more than I really wanted. A completely normal map of Czechia. The largest Czech TV channel now went all in on the joke. They are now reporting the weather for the land formerly known as Kaliningrad. Even Czech news channels are now embracing the annexation. Now we have to make it happen. Crazy how far memes can go. The true size of this long, lanky man compared to the continent of Australia. We have his feet, which are obviously the boots of the Italian peninsula, his long, lanky body, which are just a bunch of chilies put together, and finally his head, which is the African nation of Chad. This is exactly how Giga nations are born. How can Australia even compete? Someone fixed an old map talking about the languages of China. It's actually not that interesting at all. There's only one. I don't know why this one felt the need to make it all complicated and stuff. A world map, but it's actually just all the countries that participated in the movie Cars 2. Literally a timeless classic. In the Western Hemisphere, we have the USA and Brazil that were represented in Cars 2. Then as far as Europe goes, I guess Pixar really only recognizes Italy, France, Germany, Spain, and the UK. They're probably thinking in the same lines as China when it comes to Taiwan for all these other places. And then finally, Japan! What other countries do you really need? So yes, for Lightning McQueen's worldwide adventure as he competed for the World Grand Prix, the three-part race took place in Japan, Italy, and England, but there are also some new characters from different countries. Actually, looking into this makes me really want to rewatch Cars 2, and I never thought I'd say that in my life. I forgot how much people disliked Cars 2. Apparently, it varied by region, though. In Spain, according to OP, there were cameos from China, Russia, Sweden, and Mexico. That's way more awesome! Now I want to watch every version of Cars 2 that's out there, although this might take a really long time. Map of the world, but only the continents that end in A. And the most hilarious part about this map is the continents are kind of debatable. Certain parts of the world consider some land masses to be continents, others not. So let's say, for instance, if you don't believe Oceania is a continent, even if you replaced it with Australia, it would still count. And same for America, even if you believe it's just one continent, or some people even believe Central America is its own continent, still ends in A. No matter how you slice this, Europe is just not on the list. Wait, actually, if you believe in Eurasia, it would be on the list. Never mind. The point still kind of stands. Why did the geography people do this? WorldAtlas.com easily has the strangest definition of continents I've ever seen, though. I forgot that some people even think the Caribbean is its own continent. And then the Middle East randomly, which is very interesting because I've seen oftentimes Egypt included in the Middle East, but not in this case. And then in order to settle the debate, we have Australia and Oceania. I'm not saying both. We can talk all day about what's the continent, what's not. I'm not gonna say both names. I'm an Oceania enjoyer, though. Okay, to be fair, this isn't what the World Atlas believes to be the continents. They actually have 7 continents labeled down here, but I don't know why this map shows up on the first page at the top. This person's misunderstandings as a kid they had of America. I'm going to assume this person probably wasn't from North America. Then again, when you're young enough, you could have a wild imagination. So there is no Canadian province, there's just Vancouver. There's actually not even a state of Washington either. We have Hong Kong here in California, Chinese-speaking and Asian majority American city, probably on the West Coast. That sounds like a fun place. Hawaii is obviously an independent country. Mexico, which is a US state. Oh, I wish. We tried there for a second. We have Alaska, which is just untamed wilderness. Not a single human being lives in this area. This is just bear country. Canada, which is independent, but it's just kind of here. I mean, this used to be what Canada looked like. We have New England in Nova Scotia. To be fair, this piece of landmass looks more like the British Isles than actual New England. Wait, I just now realized Mexico gets all of Central America. We have the massive city-states known as Chicago, Detroit, and Michigan. Oh, Michigan is this peninsula, and this is Detroit. Then finally, Pennsylvania, which borders Transylvania. It bothers me that there's not a Transylvania over there, too. Love this question on Amazon's Alexa Answers. Is there a Transylvania in Pennsylvania? Transylvania is a historic region which is located in central Romania. It is not located in Pennsylvania. That doesn't really seem to answer the person's question. There is, however, an unincorporated community in Louisiana known as Transylvania. Pennsylvania, what are you doing? Get on this. What else is your purpose at this point? Okay, so besides that, we have Maine and New England. I guess we have... Okay, so America has all of this. I mean, geographically speaking, that would make a lot of sense. Sorry, Canada. If you really think about it, it's not horrible. My childlike brain couldn't even think of half of this. This is what I thought the US looked like at like 3 years old. A world map according to Eurovision. So yes, Eurovision is a European singing competition in which includes Australia for some reason. And at this this point, it's just kind of disrespectful to not include New Zealand as well. Like, you're willing to make this entire journey all the way out here for this continent to include this huge landmass. You won't go like the extra little ways to include New Zealand. Always being left off. You know what? Maybe Europeans don't have the proper map. Maybe whatever map they're using doesn't include New Zealand in the corner. I'm actually only reviewing this because I did not realize Morocco is included. Morocco, however, has only entered the competition once. Tunisia and Lebanon attempted to enter and then they withdrew. So it sounds like anyone can kind of join in. They just need to commit fully. So whatever that means. Morocco did that in the 80s, and the list of possible new countries that might one day include it is gonna get even crazier. What just happened to this, son? The fact that Liechtenstein is in Europe but doesn't participate, that's a travesty. Morocco has randomly been a country I've always really wanted to visit. I might need to check that out. I don't have an exact reason, I just really want to go. This person labeled 25 US states as cool and 25 US states that are poopy, based only on their knowledge as a European. So the person seems to really like the Pacific states. Everything got green over here. They like Texas and Louisiana as well, but as for the rest of the South, that's about it, except for Georgia. They seem to, for the most part, like the Northeast and the Rust Belt, although it's kind of divided, but all these real flat states get no love. Not a fan of the Florida man, I see. Indiana got a rare dub because this person was watching Stranger Things. Georgia's considered cool because previously on AMC's Walking Dead. I had no idea just how prevalent KFC was until this Euro trip. It's been in every country I've seen. Massachusetts because Irish Americans. Now I want to see more Europeans do their own map like this. I always find the random reasons to be really interesting. I wish I knew less about European countries so that I could just go off of like whatever weird random fact and I could do the same thing about that continent. The crown is weak. Now's the time to do Manifest Destiny 2.0. Manifest Destiny, but this time we go up. Now that sounds like a good sequel. And this person clearly has much better naming schemes than whatever Canada was doing before. It's about time we actually have land connecting to Alaska. Map of the United States, but guess which two states I've left off. So I almost spent like 5 minutes of my life trying to figure this out. For like 30 seconds, I immediately went to the East Coast just because this would probably be the easiest way to erase something. Then for like another 5 seconds, I was like, what if they did something weird with Michigan? And I remembered, there seems to be a lot of emptiness in this corner, even though we don't own anything in this corner. Once again, Alaska and Hawaii, always forgotten. Average height of the Mongolians. On average, this country's height is about 1259 feet. This might seem a little confusing for anyone not used to the imperial measuring system. This is accurate. As you can see, they got real tall over there. In fact, among some of the tallest in the world. So tall that Mongolia actually turned into Iran and Ukraine and China. Crazy what things you can do at great heights. A map of Czechia after the recent Kaliningrad annexation. And I see you've been doing other things to the map too as well, like splitting France in half, doing some very strange things to the Balkans, and then giving Germany their old World War I borders back. I mean, at this point, might as well. Italy's looking nice and long too. The real map of Latin America. Finally, someone has said it. Thank you. I'm sorry, I gotta say, I agree. The Canadian French-speaking province Quebec has to be included as Latin. This is Latin America. If you speak a Latin language, you are part of Latin America. And on the opposite side of things, if you don't speak a Latin language, you're not. Which, yes, we're including you, Guyana, and Suriname, since these were formerly British and then Dutch colonies. French Guyana, however, does get the pass, though. So if you were colonized by the British, you do not speak a Latin language. So that's why Jamaica, the Bahamas, Belize are not included. But then look at all these maps on Google that include way more of Latin America. Well, this doesn't even have Mexico on it. All these maps that just like in general include so many of these places. To be fair, I've also made the same mistake plenty of times. Anyways, the main focus here is Quebec. I'm sorry, I think you gotta let them in the club. I mean, if French Guyana is here, but not Quebec, then you're not even taking a principled stance. A perfect Europe, according to this person who happens to be a Brazilian anarchist. So we have all European countries and even some Asian and African ones completely following this ideology. And then we have Portugal, which goes back to Brazil. Can't argue with that. This person's clearly using 100% of facts and logic. My personal two-state solution to solve the Israeli-Palestine conflict. If we just gave Greece the northern half of Mexico and Armenia the southern half, we'd have everything figured out. It's annoying people have taken this long to figure it out. I wonder how Turkey feels about this whole thing. What about the Kurds? The only thing that I don't like about Mr. Ong is that his homework is way too hard. Here's an example. Which of these states never fought in WW1? We have Romania, Japan, the Netherlands, or none of the above. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the Netherlands. I picked Romania as I never heard of that country before. I think it's near China? Yes. Asian Romania, the most infamous of all the Central Asian countries. Oftentimes I remember reading about how vampires would flee to Kazakhstan just to escape what was happening in Romania. Where's Pakistan? Why did you give Pakistan Afghanistan? I don't care. That's not what we're supposed to analyze here, Drew. Love the United Korea, though. Almost missed out on Upper Romania, which I think is being neglected by China. Bad things are happening here. This is kind of a mean question to ask someone. If this person doesn't know where Romania is, then I don't expect this person to know who never fought in World War I. Someone's gonna fail their class for sure. I always forget that somehow the Dutch totally did dodge WW1. How'd they do that? I mean, I guess Denmark did as well, but man, so much chaos was happening right on their borders. Obviously, same thing can't be said for World War II. There are some arguments that Poland should actually be getting Kaliningrad, since this would give Poland their perfect flag borders that they've always desired. I believe many people from the Polish community have offered a truce with Czechia. They're gonna allow them to get the dub instead, just out of best friendships. But this is a pretty good claim for why they should have it, or actually why they shouldn't, because that's how the white is, that's how it becomes the thing. Okay, they're just trying to get this straight half, I see. Welcome to newest Hampshire. We had one New Hampshire, yes, but what about a bigger, more grand Hampshire? Just let them take huge chunks of Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, all of the state of Alabama, and Mississippi. But yeah, that's cool. It's almost like all these states wanted New Hampshire to take them over. Why else would they make their counties perfectly bordered like this? It was like a coordinated effort. Everyone included, like Michigan, even parts of Louisiana. They all made their borders like this so that New Hampshire could have their perfect borders over here. Makes sense to me. Let's do it. And big thanks to Why Am I Doing This? $20 is a lot, Drew. aPhatNarwhal,
Barnsky W,
Drew's Argentinian Grandpa, Chris3773,
GoodOldRyah,
istoledrewspetdog,
bruney,
nationsatrisk,
Bjorkman,
Phresh Animations,
RyeThePie,
the
Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth,
Twickenhamster,
Veiotic,
ZaneyBoi,